So important. Today we're going to talk about goals, right? But ultimately, I don't want to talk about goals. I want to talk about something else. What do you think it is? No. I want to talk about this word here that's way more important than goals this year. It's going to be commitments. Why do you think that's important there versus goals? Goals versus commitments. What do you think the difference is in those two?
Hey, this is Blake Sloan. I've been selling real estate over 14 years. Our team of highly trained professionals, along with our unmatched marketing, has sold thousands of homes here in the Myrtle Beach area, and this is how we do it.
Close, right? Goals, something everybody just has every year, right? The whole world is going to set these new goals starting next week for what? New Year's resolutions, and most of those people do what? They break them, they get super excited for a week or two, and all of a sudden they're off that track, and they're no longer actually following along with that. And it's a sickness really that just really kind of takes over the whole country and really a lot of the world. And so for us, we have commitments here which come down to, I can have a simple thing that boils down to what? Result. And we know if we honor that commitment by just simple yes or no. Did I honor my commitment? Yes or no? And that's the key part here is did I actually honor the commitment? And so I want to look at this going into 2023 as I'm setting these commitments to myself. And if you notice, commitment's a much more powerful word in terms of how I show up versus a goal. Because goal gives me permission to let myself off the hook, to not really get to that full goal, to just kind of hit the target versus me owning the commitment and getting the yes no at the end. And so everything we set up, I want you guys to live in this world here that looks at yes or no. Does that make sense to everybody here? Questions about that? But before we get to that, I was thinking about this a lot. None of that really matters until you answer this one question. The question is, what is real estate going to do for me in 2023? That's all that matters right now. What is real estate going to do for me in 2023? What do you guys think that means? What's in it for you? Why push hard? What's my one goal, my one really thing I'm pushing for this year? What's the one thing that's really, if I can just say all over everything else, what's the one thing that must happen this year that's going to make real estate worth it for me? What could that be? And everybody's in a different place here.
That could be buying your first home.
Yes. What's the one thing that's going to actually make you really make a difference and change your life? Am I going to buy a house? Buy a car? My investment? I want something that has cash flow? Like, what is it? What are some examples? Who else has one? What's yours this year?
House.
What's yours this year?
House.
Right? Is that doable? I think you get a bigger one. What's your bigger one, you think?
I guess maybe a new car for her.
No. I think this is the voice talking to me right now. Your wife needs it right here. She needs freedom. Because you got a new kid. She don't need 2 jobs. She don't need 1 job. She needs 0 jobs. And how you do that?
Settle down.
Make 150,000, 200,000. She don't have to work.
Amen.
That's how it needs to be. Right? Which I think is very important. And so if I have that type of fire behind me, guess what happens when I want to kind of get off and let myself off the hook?
It brings you back to it.
Yeah, because I need something that's a cause that's really important for me this year. Because here's the deal. These goals don't matter unless I have a true cause behind it. For me, initially, I wanted to have a nice car. Then I wanted to get a house. And then all these things happen, and all of a sudden you kind of grow. But you need to have that one thing that you guys are hunting down. So I want you to write that down right now, what that is. What am I hunting down right now in 2023? Because I can't motivate you. I can't make you do things. I can't really get you to do anything. Only thing I can do is ask some right questions to help you see some things that you couldn't really see before and gain some perspective. And then at that point, the only thing I can do is create an environment with accountability and with groups and energy and culture that allows you to choose in every single day. But we have to understand that 2023 is a marathon. It's really more than a marathon. It's a triathlon because you're going to have so many ups and downs. And all this sounds really cool right now, but we all know what happens 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, everybody quits looking at the targets. But if I have my one focus this year of like, look, I'm going to bring my wife home from work, or I'm buying my new house, or my first house, or my second house, or my first investment, that's a lot easier to hunt down and stay focused on than 6 different goals. When I first had my first Maserati, I put it on my computer back screen until, guess what? Then it's just pretty easy, right? And you focus very, very high level on one thing, you get it, you move to the next one. And that's very important. At the beginning, sometimes I just want to have my bills paid initially, really. I don't want to eat at Walmart and $30 a week. My first real estate goal really was to stop bartending. Then I got to off bartending, okay, but it's important for you guys to have the one thing for 2023 that I'm hunting down. On the sales side, right? What am I pushing for? What am I hunting for? What am I going for? And that's going to be the top of really what your focus is, and everything else will be built around that. If I'm going to buy a house, then here's the deal. What's the next question you think? When? When am I buying the house? Because I have to be able to reverse engineer what my really goal, my topic is, and my commitment is, because otherwise it's just really just kind of a hope. And so I must have a commitment here that's measurable, that's timed, in my opinion, with a deadline, and tracked, which is super important. For some of you guys that's been here for a while and has, a significant amount of cash and opportunities, and now starting to think about the next thing, which is what? Investment properties. Some of y'all should have bought investment properties before. I should have bought a lot more, a lot earlier. And looking back, I wish somebody would kind of kick me and say, look, here's time for you to buy. So some of y'all need to have, hey, look, I'm buying this by first quarter, buying this by second quarter, whatever it is in that scenario. It can be a long-term investment or also a flip. But it's important for you to understand what's the one thing for me this year that's going to be that's going to change the game for me. And not just me, but the trajectory of my family going forward forever. Right? What am I going to do this year to change the lineage of how my last name works or how my name works or who I am in terms of who my parents are, who my family is? Part of my really main goal, really, if I had to encompass it in one, was to kind of break the curse that my family had. Right? They followed money, didn't have a whole lot of one of those things that I think there's a lot of opportunity. Even then, as kids get older, right, what's going to be the one thing that really makes a big difference for that? Right? So what's the one thing that's important? But I think there's opportunity for a lot of us to have this, and this is something I think that's a big difference. Okay, so I want you guys to think about that.